Hello, good evening. Welcome to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studios here on the John Hammond Street. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country. Streaming right now on 3news.com. Also on our handles on Facebook, 3FM 927. Coming up this evening, search and rescue efforts underway as canoe ferrying displaced victims of communal violence at Sonatuda, Kalba District reportedly drowns. We have exclusive details for you as to efforts underway and what authorities have been saying over the conflict with a curfew in place. And 5 strong, barring any last-minute twist, as the NPP can confirm 5 individuals are firmly in the race for who leads the party into the 2028 general election as nomination closes today. We have the very latest from the filing as former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia declares himself the most prepared candidate to lead the NPP to victory.
Dear citizens, as the MPP is looking for a leader who embodies the character of this party's tradition and the values of our forebears, I, Mahamudu Bawumia, offer myself to lead the party for the 2028 elections.
We have details for you if you stay with us, including the Greater Accra Regional Minister cautioning Metropolitan, Municipal and District Chief Executives in the region against assigning official responsibilities to their personal assistants. She's been addressing a news conference on a range of issues. We have the details of that for you as well, plus business and sports if you stay with us for the next 60 minutes. This is Hot Edition. Stay with us for details. And a big welcome to the program this evening. I am Mawuena Egbeta, and we're getting straight into our news summaries for this evening. Christabel, Treve is here with that. Christabel, what do we have?
First off, we have the Greater Accra Regional Minister who has issued a stern warning to Metropolitan, Municipal and District Assemblies, MMDAs, in the region over worsening sanitation conditions and lapses in administrative discipline. Speaking at an accountability engagement with all MMDCs and their management teams, the minister expressed deep concern about the deteriorating state of sanitation in Accra. Former Vice President and 2024 NPP presidential candidate Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia has urged members of the MPP to embrace a call for unity with sincerity if the party is to secure victory in the 2028 general election. Addressing party supporters after filing his nomination forms at the NPP headquarters, Dr. Bawumia said the ultimate desire of every member of the party is to win the 2028 polls, stressing that this would only be achieved if genuine unity is prioritized. The national coordinator of the District Road Improvement Program, Nilanti Vanderpoy, has criticized the nurse at the center of the recent Ridge Hospital assault case following findings by a committee set up to investigate the incident. The committee's report revealed that, contrary to earlier claims by the nurse and the Ghana Registered Nurses and Midwives Association, there was no shoulder dislocation or fracture as alleged. Reacting to the outcome, Mr. Vanderpoy said the nurse's credibility and professional reputation were now at stake. Finally, the case involving 21-year-old final-year student of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, KNUST, Daniel Tufo, who stands accused of murdering his girlfriend, Joanna Deladem Yabani, has been adjourned to September 15, 2025. Tufo was arrested on Thursday, February 27, 2025, after Joanna's lifeless body was discovered on campus earlier that morning. The University Security Service, upon being alerted to the incident, promptly reported it to the police. Police investigations revealed that the deceased and the suspect were in a romantic relationship at the time of the incident. We've got this on our website, 3news.com. Mawuena, over to you.
And we're getting straight into our details this evening, starting from the northern part of the country. And we know it's been trouble in the Sola Tuna Kalba area following communal clashes over a disputed land. Persons have been seeking to flee. Their shelters have been created where food and other provisions provisions are being made. Now we're getting reports of fears that there could be an outbreak of disease, particularly for women and children. There is a lot more that's developing on this particular front, because an unidentified number of victims of the communal conflict who were fleeing from that conflict around Benyere in the Sola Tuna Kalba area of the Savanna region have reportedly drowned after a canoe on which they were crossing the Black Volta around Dinie Tuonbo enclave into neighboring Côte d'Ivoire capsized. Information gathered by the news team revealed that 6 of the victims were rescued, with an unidentified number still under the water. A search party has since been deployed by NADMO to search for the remaining persons. Several hundreds of victims are fleeing the conflict and are still stranded at Dinie, Sola and Tuna. Let's get a bit more details right now from my colleague Christabel. Chris, talk to us. What more do we know? Has the search party found the remaining persons?
Mawuena, not yet. The search party is still there. As of now, what I can say is that according to the NADMO director, maybe by evening they'll be able to come up with whether or not they've been able to find the remaining people.
And what can you say? Can you tell us in relation to what the officials have been telling you about the ongoing efforts as well?
Yes, so Mawuena, the effort has to do with the fact that people have been displaced. A lot of them want to cross to neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. Others have made their way to Sola and other places to seek refuge. Some intervention has gone in already, and some peace talks have already begun. Currently, as we speak, the Member of Parliament for West, former police officer, Honorable Peter Lancheni Tobo, is here also assessing the situation. So, Mawuena, just give me some time to engage him. Honorable, you have come here, you have been touring the affected areas. We know some of the displaced victims are trying to cross into neighboring La Côte d'Ivoire. Others have made their way here. Others, we cannot even tell where they are right now. Having come to the area, what's your initial assessment, observation of the whole situation?
Thank you very much. I began this morning with a heavy heart. First of all, we visited Tunara, we went to Kalbara, we went to Kongura, and we ended with Solara. Lucky enough, the president of the Bole Traditional Council himself, the Bolera, met me in Solawara's palace, and that was a good coincidence. The good news is that I am ending the day with a lighter heart, because I can see hope, I can see peace coming, I can see the will of the leaders of these communities, that they are willing to be able to bring back normalcy. Life cannot be like this. When I see the displaced persons, that we have internally displaced persons right in front of us, crossing over from Wild West to Sola Tuna Kalba, it is a terrible sight. But I think that the positive vibes that I've gotten from all these elders have given me courage that come what may. In a few days, peace shall return to Sola Tuna Kalba.
So let's talk further about the incident. This has brought some security issues. Even though security personnel are in these communities, the people still feel threatened. As a former police officer, what is your take on this situation?
The truth of the matter is that when conflict breaks out like this, you can even have a police officer sleeping on the same bed with you, but you still have some level of fear. It is natural, because you don't know who is coming next, who can probably even overpower the police officer and affect you. What we are calling for is that let all be each other's keepers, let the security do the best that they can, but let's be willing to commit ourselves to the cause of peace. And coming together in the next few days, we'll begin to see new life coming back to us again.
Are you satisfied with the security presence in these areas?
I want to applaud the security. When I was going to Kalbara, I went with the armed force, the letters, I went with the police. They were all part of it. And I see the presence of the police in the conflict environment, the presence of men and women in uniform in the conflict environment is to assure the people that, listen, we are here and your security is guaranteed. So that presence alone is a sign that His Excellency President John Dramani Mahama believes that this part of the country should be peaceful. And what the police are doing, what the soldiers are doing, I think let's applaud them. They left their families and they are here. That is the job they've been trained to do. And so far, so good. They are doing wonderfully well. Let's support them.
Okay, so Mawuena, you just heard from the Member of Parliament. He is calling for peace and calling on the residents to support the efforts by the security agencies to restore calm in the area.
Right then, Chris, thank you. But just by way of how things are still playing out in the area, we know that the curfew is still in place. Is the curfew affecting this area where the search party is on and persons have drowned?
It's not affecting it because the curfew is only limited to the Solar Township as well as the Bole Township, and so it's not affecting where the incidents actually happen.
But we also know, Chris, that you reported concerns of the health risk to the persons in the area. You've been speaking to the health directorates in the region as well. Have they come through, provided some level of assistance to these persons who are currently at these shelters?
Yes, exactly. So, Mawuena, some emergency health posts have been created here at the camp. Some health workers have been brought here, clinicians and other health workers, to ensure that they give some first aid to the affected and displaced victims of this conflict. There is also an ambulance stationed here to transport persons whose cases are beyond the emergency services they are rendering here. So far, I have seen the ambulance move from the camp to the hospital carrying a young boy believed to be between 15 and 16 years. The ambulance has just returned from the Solar Government Hospital and is stationed here at the camp again. And so the health officials here are doing their best to ensure that the health needs of the people are addressed. But one critical issue, Mawuena, that needs emergency solution has to do with the sanitation issue, water and sanitation, as well as hygiene issue here at the camp. They don't have a place where they eat themselves. They do everything in the open. Most of them have not taken their bath over the period. They sleep in the open, and so it poses some further health risk to these displaced victims.
Christopher, thank you very much for those details. That's my colleague Christopher Marco providing details there for us. And he mentioned the health director for the area. That's Dr. John Eko O2 is the Savanna Regional Health Director. Let's hear from him, and also we hear from NADMO, who've been helping in all of those rescue efforts.
We have our team on the ground. We have clinicians who are taking care of the sick and also triaging the people. We have nursing mothers, pregnant women, children, disabled people, and people are already coming with uncomplicated malaria and other ailments that we are treating. We have an ambulance on standby where the critically ill are moved to the hospital. The major concern here is wash facilities. Currently, we don't have a toilet facility, so they are forced to do it around the camp, which is not good because it poses a hazard. So we are collaborating with NADMO, the assembly, to get mobile toilets so that they'll be able to do it dignified. They'll have dignified way of managing their waste. We are anticipating that as the day comes on and more people will move in, so we want to make sure that we are ready to manage them as the numbers increase. We are here, so far as the people are here, we are going to be here 24 hours to make sure that their health care is taken care of. That's
Dr. John Ekoutu, is the Savanna Regional Director of Health Services speaking there. Let's as well hear from the NADMO Director for the area, Mahama Zakaria, who's been speaking as well in relation to the development there.
We also picked that piece of information regarding the capsize of the boats on the Black Volta at the far end border between Ghana and Ivory Coast, and the anxiety of the people to cross over because they think they were not safe here at the border area. And so Picking that information, we realized that we needed to verify the authenticity of that kind of information as to whether that is true or not. The fact of it is that we are aware that there is a camp over there where some other persons have gathered and are trying to cross over to Ivory Coast from the Ghana Ivory Coast linkage. You know, we just share, it's just the river that separates Ghana and Ivory Coast from that enclave. And so we are trying to see. But per our information, they were able to rescue just about 4 or 6 people, and the rest of the people, they are still searching for them.
Do we know the number of people?
No, as of now, we don't know the number. We don't know the number because, you know, in this kind of situation, everybody wants to cross. And so even when the boat was full, according to our sources, even when the boat was full to its capacity, others were still boarding the boat. And that is what might have caused the accident.
That's Muhammad Zakaria, Savanna Regional NADMO Director. We'll hear as well from the Vice Chair of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Sebastian Sandar. He's expressed worry about the humanitarian situation following the communal clashes there, and says it has come to their attention and they'll be looking at it.
Because we are on research, some of these things we all just see them on the news. But whatever it is, once we get to hear, through the good work of the media, then there's something that we should handle seriously. And we all know, I mean, the evidence is there that, look, anytime you have a conflict, children, women suffer the most. As for the men, they are mostly involved in the fight. So they are there, but the children and the mother are the people that suffer the consequences of whatever conflict that may come. So that is what we are witnessing. And now, what to eat, where to sleep, water to bath, all these things have health consequences, because if children don't get food to eat, then they get malnourished, they are susceptible to sickness or diseases. Mothers, have their own motherhood issues or reproductive issues, and that get complicated. So it's of concern, and we all think that the authorities ensure that it doesn't play for long, because it goes for a long time. These women and children will begin to have serious disease. Of course, it's like I said, it's a concern to us. I mean, as we're speaking, I cannot give an immediate plan. I mean, that's why I'm answering the question that because, like I said, we deal with leadership. My chairman, as we're speaking, it's not within the jurisdiction and other leadership. So I don't want to be, though it's a concern, and I know as a committee we would act, but in terms of a concrete action today, tomorrow, that the committee is in that decision, I would say so, but it's a concern, and we will take the necessary action.
As a Vice Chair of the Health Committee of Parliament, Dr. Sebastian Sandar, also here on Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're moving on to our big story for this evening, having to do with the opposition NPP and that race slated for the 31st of January 2026. What do we have?
Barring any last-minute twists, Mawuena, we understand that 5 aspirants are now firmly in the race to lead the New Patriotic Party into the 2028 general election. Our last checks confirm that former General Secretary Kwabena Ejapong, former Asin Central MP Kennedy Ejapong, MP for Abitifi, and former Agric Minister Brian Echampong, former Education Minister Dr. Yao Osei Educhum, and former Vice President Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia have all filed their nominations, and official entries closes later today. Earlier, Vice President Bawumia turned the party headquarters into a sea of supporters as he submitted his forms. Addressing the charged crowd, Dr. Bawumia declared himself the most prepared candidate to lead the NPP, touting his record and experience at what sets him apart.
Dear citizens, as the NPP is looking for a leader who embodies the character of this party's tradition and the values of our forebears, I, Mahamudu Bawumia, offer myself to lead the party for the 2028 elections because I have the integrity, the competence, the compassion, the humility, and the values not only required to lead the party, but to lead the country. This election is an election not only for flag bearer, of our party, but it is an election for the soul of this party. The choice we make on January 31st will determine whether or not this party will hold on to the values that make us great, or become a new party focused on deepening the chasm between the rich and the poor. I am offering myself to be elected as flag bearer because I believe we owe a duty to this party to give her a choice to put forward the most prepared candidate for the 2028 election.
That was former Vice
Championed and saw to implementation include the Bank of Ghana's Gold Purchase Program, the first in Africa, the issuance of the Ghana card, mobile money interoperability, the first in Africa, the Ghana Digital Property Address System, the first in Africa, Agenda 111, one constituency, one ambulance, the Zipline drone delivery service, the largest in the world, the universal QR code payment system, the No, which is the first in Africa, the No Guarantor student loans, Ghana.gov, the Citizens app, NHIS registration and renewal on your mobile phone, the rental assistance scheme, the Zongo Development Fund, individualized credit scoring, paperless ports, electric buses, e-gates at Kotoka International Airport, and the digitalization of medical records across all district, regional, and teaching hospitals in Ghana, amongst others.
He urged party faithful to
by insulting or by bragging about money. The combined effect of how well Bawumia is known today and my experience as vice president make me the most prepared person for the MPP's quest for the 2028 election and governance in 2029. Fellow Kukrudites, in the words of Kofi Abrefa-Bruzia, the qualification to be a success in Ghana's politics includes a large capacity to stomach all sorts of attacks. I am not oblivious to the fact
of the New Patriotic Party, the Vice and former Vice President Dr. Mahamadou Bawumia speaking. They were going on to the phone lines right now. Joined on the phone by political science lecturer at the University of Ghana, Dr. Joshua Zato, and as well as Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere, is a political analyst and lecturer at the University of Cape Coast. Gentlemen, good evening. Many thanks for joining us here on Hot Edition.
Good evening.
I want to start with you, Dr. Jonathan Asante-Okyere. Your take on what we've heard the Vice President say today. He alludes and seeks to trumpet again strongly his achievements during his tenure as Vice President. A sharp criticism which has come from that already is that same trump card he's on is what he presented to Ghanaians in the 2024 elections, and they rejected him. He should be pivoting away from it, but he still holds on to it. What do you make of this strategy going into this race?
Yes, good evening, Savanna, and good evening to your listeners and to my colleague out there. I was hazarding the same guess because it's like Dr. Bawumia appears to be speaking to solely the middle class, and that for me is not good enough. When I listen to Kennedy Japon's speech, the language that he used is of a grassroots language. And I was a bit surprised that the very things that he said, that he touted before that nature, then he will have to come up with new ideas. And that, for me, will be more strategic than what he just said. Yes, he's the most or the more experienced than his compeers. But the same way, he's the most disastrous as well. So he comes as a mixed bag. The more competent, the more experienced, but of course, the more disastrous candidate, so to speak. And so, in as much as he's touting his profile, his credentials, his experience, and other things, he's the same person that, caused his own grandeur of defeat. And so, that is my preliminary view on that particular speech that he put out there. I mean, the speech is not bad. He also gets into an area where he says that
your listeners and to my other colleague on the other side of the line. I watched today as His Excellency Dr. Bawumia went to pick to submit his forms. Today is not a day for a policy speech. Today is not a day to demonstrate his competence of the issues, of the policies, of the ideas. Today is not a day for him to talk about all those issues. He went, he submitted a form, and informed the delegates he was ready. Wait for the vetting. Once you are vetted and approved, you now go there. You would go. He made something. He made a point. He said, that's what I'm saying. I don't want to go to that. None of the delegates has visited polling stations, has visited constituencies more than him. Nobody. There's no single constituency in this country. We talk about grassroots. You see, that's what I'm saying. Again, today you saw experience speak. People talk about grassroots. How can you say you are grassroots when you have not visited any of the polling stations or any of the constituencies more than 2 times? Dr. Bawumia has visited every single polling station in this country more than 5 times. So who is more connected to the grassroots? Again, look, I don't want this to be a banter. What I'm saying is it was a very small and significant assignment.
Right.
He went, he submitted his forms, he came back.
Right. I'll come back to you on the internal contest and the concerns of unity, because that is a big challenge and a big conversation that needs to be had even in the lead up to January 31, 2026. But Mr. Jonathan Asante-Ocho, perhaps I'll start off with you on that front. You say that the language and the use of enemies could have been better, but now all 5, we know 5. We know that Kennedy Ohene Japan, Kwabene Japan, Brian Champon, Dr. Yosei Duchum, and then Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia are the ones, per what we know, we haven't gotten word of another individual filing, are the ones going into this race, so there won't be the expectation of a super delegates conference. What should be the party's guiding principle, considering what we've seen play out, even in the lead up to the filing of these nominations, to ensure the party continues to stay in one piece after that primary?
Well, obviously, I'm very certain that these subtle jabs from the former vice president will definitely get some due response. And of course, if you listen to Kennedy, he also gave some jabs. He feels that it's not supposed to be empty rhetorics. It's supposed to be the reality on the ground. So I'm expecting that definitely their followers, respond appropriately.
Right.
And that being said,
right.
I think that the picking of the forms, has really gone well. We've not heard of any bad or untoward incident. And so that in itself is very good.
But there are concerns of bias though, from the camp of of Kennedy Japan already, who say that the party's official handles were used to stream the filing of nomination for Dr. Bawumia when same courtesies were not afforded to all others.
Well, these are some of the things that, may not augur well for the party in terms of unity and post the elections. I heard Dr. Zato suggest to the effect that, and that is what Dr. Bawumia rightly said, he's toured the country over the period, a number of times, he's visited, blah, 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 as a way of disputing those who believe that he's not, a grassroots person. But of course, that also came as an opportunity for him because he was a flag bearer. And therefore, the party was ready and willing to finance him to go around campaigning. So obviously, he will come to us as more qualified, more experienced. I wouldn't say more qualified, more experienced than all the other candidates.
Right.
But in terms of the bias, obviously, from the word go, that appears to be the case because the establishment seems to tilt towards a particular angle. But if we just have to wait and see how the reality will be like, because before the 2024 elections, the presidential primaries, special presidential primaries that they had, and then the presidential primaries as well. I always said that I saw Mr. Kennedy, Honorable Kennedy Japan, as having more superior message than Dr. Bawumia. Probably Dr. Bawumia felt that he was constrained because of the promises that he gave in yesteryears, of which he was now supervising or superintending as the vice president leader, of the party then and a flag bearer as well. And so these were things that constrained him at the time. So he was a bit careful not to give out new promises that Ghanaians will not believe. But in the case of Kennedy Japan, he was out there looking at issues pertaining to various regions, telling them their problems and providing solutions to that. So you could see that the same language is the same language he went out there to speak, grassroots language, that those at the grassroots could easily identify themselves with, not the language that is quite lofty. And so as for the bias thing, well, whatever you do, once you are the leading candidate, so to speak, some of these jars will come your way, but it may not be his fault that he appears to be the leading candidate.
Right.
But what else can you do?
Right.
He will take advantage of that, like what they did when it came to this thank you talk. I told them that this cannot be a thank you talk. It is linguistically unacceptable to say that you haven't lost an election miserably, you say you are going to thank you talk. It should rather be a unity talk or something else other than a thank you talk. And that I knew others were going to use that as a conduit to campaign. And that is what led to the whole problem with this.
Right then, I'll end it here with you, Mr. Jonathan Asante-Ocho, because I get the indication you have to be somewhere else. Dr. Jonathan Asante-Ocho, but thank you very much for joining us this evening here on Hot Edition. Let me return to you, Dr. Zato, on the allegation of bias against the party hierarchy. That's been in the offing, or it's been in the background for quite a while. Now, they say they have evidence of that in that the party's official handles were streaming the filing of Dr. Bawumia, same courtesies were not being offered. All of that and more, many say, could be very problematic for the NPP in the aftermath of this primary.
Again, I always want to look at things from a different perspective or perspective. Did the other candidates ask for the handles of the party to stream their submissions? What if they don't ask? And because if they complain, they don't tell us that we asked and we're not given. But do we know if the Bawumia campaign asked and they were given? So if you haven't asked for something and wasn't giving it to you, how is that a bias? It's possible the Bawumia campaign asked and said, look, can we use this? Is it possible they even paid for it? But the others didn't pay for it or didn't ask for it. And then the other thing is in hindsight. And that campaign. So that's what I'm saying.
In the face of this, there's a perception already. There are concerns of the perception of the bias.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, yes,
won't that be taken into consideration when a decision like that is being made?
In any contest, whenever you are a front runner, there's always this perception. And this is what I always say. In such a political contest, if you are complaining, you are losing. If you are winning, you are not complaining. So the losers that are complaining, and that's the point I've just given you. The party has handles. You are going to submit something there. Did you ask the party, can I use your handles? Maybe if you did, the party will say, yes, you can use them at a fee. You don't ask. Somebody else has used them. Did you ask the party, why did you give this? The party would have given you an explanation. You are not interested in the explanation. You are not interested in what happened because If you ask for the explanation and you were told that, yes, if you ask for giving you, you look incompetent, you look unprepared. So you rather think that, okay, the best way to do is rather to go out there and blame the process when you were not prepared or competent enough to use the process. Again, you are throwing shades, you are throwing sand in the eyes of people to cover up your own negligence. But that's not the point I'm making. Every front runner, in every political party, and for that matter, in every competition, the perception has always been that the so-called establishment are favoring the front runners. So again, it comes with politics. It comes with the terrain. There's no contest that you can go, no political contest, and then you will see that challengers or people that come in have never said that establishment are supporting the frontline candidate. It has always been the case.
But going forward, with these concerns coming up, being raised consistently, how does the NPP begin to cure it? Because the acrimony, as we've seen it play out, is quite very much on the high. There's been allegations and some have called it bigotry to an extent, all playing out in the lead up to January 31, 2026.
I hope when the NPP finishes and the NDC starts their primaries, I hope you and I will have a talk again. And when we do, I'm sure I would remind you that this is the same thing that is happening. The point I'm making is this, and I've always said this. Political parties are vulnerable when they are having internal primaries. It's like a family fighting among itself, and you know how vicious, how difficult, how challenging that can be. So yes, and that is what you are seeing. You are seeing that siblings fighting among themselves. You are seeing that friends fighting among themselves, colleagues fighting among themselves. Look, I won't be surprised if it gets ugly. I won't be surprised if it gets in politics a contact sports. There are some people who even think that the media is not giving them enough recognition, so make baseless allegations, then you get traction and you get media. There are some people who think that the only way they can be noticed is if they throw away scandalous allegations. If they make allegations, then they get media attention and traction. All this happening. Every candidate has their own tactics of how they intend to win. And I'm saying that if you must understand them, politics is a contact sport, and politics is inherently conflictual. Politics go with conflict. What we don't want is violent conflict. But if it's a conflict of ideas, conflicts of opinions, conflicts of perceptions and methodologies, that is fine. So yes, some of these things are happening. We don't want it. They are ugly, but they come and they characterize parties' primaries, and you've seen them. We can talk about extent, we can talk about quantity, we can talk about rate, but these things do happen whenever there are primaries going on.
Right then, Doc, I appreciate you speaking to us as well. That's Dr. Joshua Zato speaking to us. But we know that there's a statement confirming the number of individuals expected to be on the ticket on January 31, 2026. Christabel, what does that statement say?
Yes, the Presidential Elections Committee of the NPP wishes to inform all stakeholders that as of Thursday, August 28, 2025, 5 aspirants who earlier picked up nomination forms have duly filed their completed forms with the committee, and they go ahead to list the aspirants. And Engineer Kwabena Ije Japong, we have Honorable Ken Ohene Japong, Honorable Dr. Brian Ichampong, His Excellency Dr. Mahamudu Baumia, and Honorable Dr. Yao Osei Educhum. It will be recalled that on Tuesday, July 29, 2025, the General Secretary, on behalf of the National Council, officially opened nominations for party members desirous of contesting to become the party's presidential candidates. The committee assures all stakeholders of its commitment to a transparent, credible, and fair process guided by the party's constitution and regulations to ensure the integrity of the process. The presidential primary, as we know, will be held on Saturday, January 31, 2026. And this was signed by the Presidential Elections Committee Secretary, William Yamwa.
Thank you very much, Christabel, for those details. But we're moving away from this to the Greater Accra Regional Minister's press conference yesterday, and you have those details as well, because she's been speaking tough, amongst many other things, on quite a number of issues having to do with MMDCs and the way they act.
Yes, like you said, she has cautioned the MMDCs in the region against assigning official responsibilities to their personal assistants. Speaking at a press conference and meeting with the MMDCs today, she described as worrying the growing trend of PAs attending official functions and in some cases even signing documents on behalf of their bosses, stressing that such practices undermine accountability and compromise the confidentiality required in the operations of the Regional Coordinating Council. She warned that PAs have no place in the Regional Coordinating Council meetings, insisting that sensitive matters should remain strictly between appointed officials.
Let me address a disturbing trend that has reached my attention. Some of you have surrounded yourselves with personal assistants who have virtually taken over your official responsibilities. If you have decided to bring PAs, let them be clear. Their roles is strictly to help you organize your schedules, manage your time, and provide administrative support. Your PAs are not to approve documents on gimmicks and not to represent you at official meetings. This must stop immediately. Assemblies cannot run by unelected, unappointed individuals hiding behind your authority. Furthermore, I have reports that many of you have also turned your official offices into party meeting grounds, filling them with unauthorized officials and visitors, while your staff, the very people who are supposed to lead, are denied access to discuss official matters. This is abuse of office and is unacceptable. Let me sound this caution. No MMDCE is to attend any RCC meeting with their PAs. Note, some issues are strictly confidential. You might not know your PA. We should all take no MMDCE is to attend any RCC meeting with their PAs. Note, some issues are strictly confidential. You might not know your PA. We should all take, advice from Victoria Hammer. I believe you know the story very well. And so not that we are preventing, but there are certain issues which are strictly, you don't have to involve your PAs because we don't know what will happen in the near future. This practice ends now and it continues. If it continues, the individuals involved will face serious consequences.
That's the Greater Accra Regional Minister. Let's quickly pick the thoughts of Professor Enoch Entry. He's a governance expert. He's joining us over the phone. Quite serious issues, Prof, the Regional Minister raises. But how have we got here that MMDAs are resorting to allowing their PAs attend meetings on their behalf and turning these crucial offices, which is supposed to bring governance to the doorstep of all localities, into party grounds?
Good evening and greetings to all our cherished listeners and viewers all over the world. I think that the regional minister have a point. And how did we get here? Because it seems that the administrative duties, government responsibilities, policy decisions, budgets, quality standards, and the expectations of the people have made these MMDEs very, very busy. And that is why they have resorted into using their PAs into doing things for them. But if you listen to the minister very well, she has a good point. When we talk about regional coordinating council meetings, there's a lot that is supposed to be discussed there. And these guys who have not been on the government list as appointed by the government and responsible to the government representing them who pose some dangers if they are looking for quality decision makings and then submissions from these PAs. But can you fault them? Because if you look at the responsibilities of the PAs, the personal assistants of these MMDEs, we have about 10 of them. They are first supposed to provide strategic support in decision strategies for the MMDEs. So they are not just there as individuals. In fact, even if you go to their offices and you can't see them or you want something from them, they will tell you to see their PAs. And the PAs are supposed to work on job placement for them, work on meetings and events for them. So the PAs have become an integral part of them. And that is why if they cannot get the chance to go to regional coordinating council meetings, the first person that comes to their mind is their personal assistant. So they are also supposed to manage their communications, serve as liaison between themselves and all the stakeholders. And there are a lot of plethora of work that they are supposed to do. So we have to look at how they can delegate, what they can delegate them to do, and what they cannot delegate them to do.
And in terms of the sanctions she preaches, how do citizens in their respective localities even begin to police these things and ensure that the wrong which has been highlighted is not continuously perpetuated?
I think the sanctions were based on her observations. If you go to Regional Coordinating Council meeting, which was very specific in what she said, and then you have reps representing the MMDS, and these are meetings and events and forums, and we are supposed to have these DCEs and MCEs come with their perspective and then how they can communicate and talk to the issues. You don't expect the same quality as you have delegated your personal assistant to come and do it for you. And that is why she was worried, what I could deduce from what she said. So I think that moving forward, there are other things that the PAs can do, and there are other things that PAs cannot do. For instance, when she said that Regional Coordinating Council meetings, she don't want to see any personal assistant coming to represent an MCE or district chief executive, I side with her, because these are high efficacy of meetings where we are supposed to talk about decision-making, policy development, problem-solving, data analytics, and all that. And we need you because the MCs and the DCs are representing the presidents at the district and the municipalities. And we expect their ideas to move the country forward, not that of personal assistance.
Right then, Prof, we'll leave the conversation here. I appreciate you speaking to us this evening.
Thank you very much. Have a great evening.
That's Professor Eric Mawuena, she's a governance expert. He spoke to us this evening on the very latest. And Christabel will do that for us, and then we'll bring you sports as well.
Good evening. Welcome to the business segment on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7 with me, Christabel. Success Treve. Coming up tonight, Ghana's unemployment rate falls, but youth joblessness remains high. We'll bring you details of latest Ghana Statistical Service reports. Stay with us, please.
Out of both work and education. Thirdly, we've seen that regional gaps are widening, with Accra and Ashanti recording both high employment and high unemployment rates, while northern regions struggle. Again, long-term unemployment is becoming entrenched, trapping thousands in prolonged joblessness. Labor underutilization is falling, but still signals untapped potentials.
That was government statistician Dr. Al Hassan Idrisu. The Bank of Ghana has directed all mining companies in the country to channel their foreign exchange inflows through commercial banks instead of sending them directly to the central bank. Governor Dr. Johnson Isiama says the move, which forms part of fresh measures to boost liquidity in the interbank market, is expected to give commercial banks additional forex support while easing pressure on the Ghana cedi. He also disclosed that the central bank is preparing a regulatory framework for virtual assets and digital finance following experiments by some payment service providers with cryptocurrency and offshore settlement models.
The banks ought to have their own inflows that accrue through remittances, inflows that accrue through trade. It is true that certain inflows, like from mining, for example, those accrue to us. And so it makes sense that we support the markets using, those inflows that come in. And so one of the things we have done this week is we have written to the mining firms, right, for such inflows to be redirected to the commercial banks. And all these is meant to help improve interbank trading, in foreign FX. That way they are able to support imports and other flows without necessarily, waiting for the central bank to come in with some support.
That was Governor of the Bank of Ghana, Dr. Johnson Isiama, speaking there. That'll be it for Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. I did this with Mawuena Egbeta. My name is Christabel, Success Treve. 3FM Drive Team continues with Trickmatic.